Hi darlings, and welcome back to Pass or Smash New Makeup Edition. So, here on Pass or Smash, we talk about new makeup releases, primarily indie brand launches, and we decide if we want to pass, as in buy bitch, or smash, add to cart. So, I'm feeling a little salty today, so if I'm extra harsh, I'm sorry in advance. I'm trying not to be though, okay? So let's get into the goodies because there's lots of fun things. And honestly, like, I'm just picking and choosing at this point. Hold on, my air conditioner sounds like a freight train. Let me turn it off. See, that's better, much better. It's not as freight train-esque, if you will. So let's talk about some new makeup launches and let's just get into the nitty gritty. And if you like Pass or Smash, please like and subscribe and all of that jazz. And hi to anyone who's new. I'm Liz and I'm a makeup enthusiast and I like to just go through and I like to look at all the new launches and figure out what I like about them and what I don't like about them. And yeah, and sometimes I talk myself into buying things, but a lot of the times I talk myself out of things. So let's get into it. So Glaminatrix has a new 6-pan palette that they're releasing for the holiday season. This is the Fairy Lights palette, which sounds so familiar, and I just can't place where I've seen Fairy Lights before. If you know what that palette is, will you please comment it below because it's ringing lots of bells and I can't place what it is. But there's a little 6-pan palette here that's very sparkly, very shimmery. It's all shimmers. And one of them is a Holo shade, which is very nice looking. But that is going to retail for $40 US. It is launching November 4th. So at the time of filming, this is actually already out. And they are 26mm pans. For me, this is going to be a pass. I think it's very, very pretty. I rarely reach for all shimmer palettes. If I reach for them, they have to be something kind of special. And these are very pretty. This actually reminds me of the Urban Decay Moondust palettes. Palette, I should say. Oh, I think they have 2 of them, actually. But it reminds me of those kind of a shades, but better. You know what I mean? So if the Moondust was calling your name, but you were just not feeling the Urban Decay, well, maybe Glaminatrix would be a good fit for you. I like their quality. I really like their shimmers. I think they're really beautifully done. But this just isn't it for me. So this is going to be a pass, but I think it's cute, but I don't need it. Okay. Simply Posh, who has been very quiet for some time, has 2 new releases. So the first up is their first ever face palette right here. This is the Cozy Up Blush and Highlighter Palette. There are 8 pans. There are 4 blushes and there are 4 highlighters. And it looks like the highlighters are really, really light to like a true gold. So that's nice. And then the blushes are like pretty pinks and it looks like one berry. So that's there. Now that is going to retail for $40. So I'm referencing my paper because I'm analog that way. Looks like that's going to retail for $40. Now this whole collection is going to be code eligible, so you can use a code on it. I actually think this is really beautiful. I would be really interested to see these swatches on skin. Like, what does the highlighter look like? Is it going to be a metallic sheen? Are they more pearlescent? It looks like it's kind of sparkly, and I don't necessarily need that, but I am very curious. So I'm going to say smash to this face palette, but I don't want to pay full price for it. So if you could get like a combo deal or use a code, you know, that would be the way to go for me. That said, I will be putting any codes I can find, all of the usual details and descriptions and all of that in the description box for you. So if you see something that you absolutely have to have and you need that information, I just randomly pick codes from creators that I enjoy. The only code I have is from Davina. I don't have any other codes. So yeah, I think that it's a very cute palette and I will put all the details in the description box, okay? So to go along with this face palette, and Steph's Beauty Stash actually just did a review of this whole thing. So if I remember, I will put that in the description box as well. And so did Brittany Ray Beauty. But to go along with this face palette, there is actually a reformulation of the Cozy Cabin palette. Cozy Cabin. I struggle with that word. I'm sorry. Cozy Cabin palette. That is here. So I don't know if it was last season or if it was further back than that, but they actually, what they did was, here's a side-by-side of the two palettes, okay? So they had a Cozy Cabin in the past. They had a Cozy Cabin palette, same format, similar tones. What they did for this season is to make it different and to update it for more of what their aesthetic is. They updated the tones, they updated the formulas. So the mattes are actually more pigmented than the original palette was. And the shimmers, they were very careful with the shimmers because Simply Posh had hard panning issues with their Fairy something palette. Fairy Frolic, is it Frolic palette? I'm so sorry, my brain is like not processing that name. But they had issues with that palette with the shimmers, so they were really careful with this palette to get the shimmer formula that they wanted without all of the hard painting issues. So if you were concerned about that, it looks like it has been addressed. So the color story is here, and they did change the tones, I think, quite a fair bit. So this is the original with the side-by-side, and then this is the new one. So I do have a creator's name, it's Macro Makeup, on the screen for a couple of these pictures today, because by far their Instagram had the best looking photos of this launch, and I was just so impressed. If you don't follow Macro Makeup, definitely give them a follow on Instagram. Their product shots are absolutely stunning. Definitely recommend. But yeah, so there's that. Honestly, this color story is really beautiful to me. I think this is lovely. I think it's perfect for fall going into Christmas. I just think it's really beautiful. I'm gonna say smash. Absolutely smash. Use a code, but smash. So yeah, I would definitely be into that. Now, I did not see pricing for this palette, and maybe I just missed it, but I did not see pricing for this palette. So I'm not sure how much it is. But it did say on their site, they did say that the Cozy Cabin, they're going to have a bundle available with both palettes so that you can save even more. And it looks like that bundle is going to be stackable with codes from what I understood. I could be wrong, but I think it's going to be stackable with codes, which is nice. So we're going to say smash, and we're going to say smash to this whole collection because I think it's a beautiful launch from the brand, especially since we haven't seen anything from them in a while. So smash, smash. Okay. That is launching November 6th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It does say that it's limited edition, but I'm not sure what that means in terms of restocks, but smash, absolutely. Okay, so last week we talked about Arttitude Cosmetics, and we talked about everything else in the collection, with the exception of the Abscission palette. So if you remember, it's not obsession, it's abscission, and it's like the natural act of letting go, like leaves falling off a tree. So we have the color story now. It is here. It is 16 pans, which, oh, just tickles something inside my body. I love 16 pan palette. I don't know what it is about that format, but that's like the sweet spot number for me. And it could be because it's like a perfect square. And then it's also a perfect square of a perfect square. But there's just something about that to my brain that like tickles something exciting, you know? It's like, oh, I love it. I am who I am, okay? I fixate on certain things. Love it. So 16 pans. There are neutrals, golds, greens, burgundy, a pop of teal. Honestly, very close, in my opinion. I think it's close to the Cozy Cabin palette, honestly. But we see these colors a lot during the fall season. So this has like a nice bit of neutrals and greens, and then that pop of teal. I think that's really pretty. So that is there. Now there are 9 mattes, 2 multichromes, 2 duochromes, and 3 foiled metallics. Speaking my language. And it retails for about $47 US, and it is available now. So if you live in the United States, FYI, the shipping's about $12. At least it was last time I went to buy something from their site. It was about $12. It might be a little bit more or less, you know, with world events, but factor that into your budgeting. But I think it's worth it, honestly. I've seen nothing but really beautiful reviews and looks with this palette so far. And just, you know, congrats to them because it looks like this is a pretty universally loved palette so far. So we're going to say smash. Smash. I really enjoy their Man Eater Untamed palette. I've enjoyed a lot of the things that I've gotten from them. Their lashes, the bands are a little bit stiff on the lashes, but yeah, I just think it's a really beautiful palette and it's a really beautiful color story. So we're going to say smash. Listen, how are we going to afford all this? I need a job. I need a job for all of the makeup things that I would like. You have to be like realistic, right? You can't buy everything. But does it mean I don't fall in love with these color stories? No, I always fall in love with the color stories. So smash. Okay, so this is a brand that I have not tried. And I was really kind of on the fence about talking with it because I really don't know much about it. But there's a couple things that I do know. So this is a Chinese-based makeup company. It's called ShellWe Makeup. It is a Chinese-based company. And it looks like when you click on their website, they do have an AliExpress shop available through there. So I'm not sure what that honestly means. I've heard really awful things, hit and miss things about retailers who sell on AliExpress. So I just wanted to put that out there for you before you fall in love with the color story. If it's something that you're like absolutely opposed to, I just wanted to make sure you had that information. But I honestly don't know anything about their practices or what they do. I just happened to see this color story and I've seen this brand around my Instagram for a while. And I think this is a very pretty palette and color story, so I wanted to mention it, okay? So ShellWe Makeup has released the Mist Witch palette, which is here. And they did something really interesting with this. And this is part of the reason it caught my attention, is they created a mini version of this palette and they created a full-size version. So the outer packaging is the same like design, but there's a mini version that has like rectangular pans, and then there is a larger version which has round pans. So I think the branding, it's a really interesting approach. I actually think the mini is a really good idea for somebody who has a large collection who maybe just wants to try the brand and doesn't want to invest $50 on a palette every time. I think the mini is a really smart approach to it. And honestly, I like the layout of the mini palette better in terms of how all of the shades are lined up. And, you know, I think it's pretty. So that's there. So the mini size is going to be $25 and the full size is $49. Which I think it's a really interesting approach to do that. Now, there were no good still shots that I could find. So I was screenshotting from the video, like their promo video. But yeah, no like actual photos. Don't get me, I'm gonna go on a whole tirade. Don't even get me started with Instagram and people, like and brands not even posting photos. Stupidest fucking thing in the world. But anyway, there is a pre-order available for these now, and it will be shipping by the end of November. And on a few of their posts, they do say that there's a huge shopping holiday in China around the middle of November, like November 11th, I think is what they said. And that there will be a big sale on products on their site for that Chinese holiday. So keep an eye out for that, because if you've been wanting to try ShellWe makeup, then you may actually be able to get this color story for cheaper. So that's exciting. I'm very tempted by this, honestly. I kind of want to try the brand. It's $25 for the mini regular price. We're going to say smash. Listen, if there's something about me, I love the whole witchy aesthetic. I like this kind of a color story. I just think it's really pretty, and I do like to try new makeup. I'm not somebody who shops at like on Shein or Temu, really. I have ordered from Temu, but I only ordered some storage boxes, which are honestly okay. They were $1 or so. But I don't like to do haul videos or any of that from those brands, just because there's a lot of bad practices that go into it. And I just don't know a lot about this brand. But I wanted to make that very clear to you guys, because, you know, just in case. But I think I may end up trying them at some point, especially the mini versions. I think that's really appealing to me. So I'm going to say smash to this. I think the packaging is beautiful, and I think the color story is well curated. So we're going to say smash. Okay, so Ladybug Glow. Can you see the contempt on my face? Because, okay, so So they have 2 new palettes for the Christmas season. So each is 9 pans. So the one in the white packaging here, this one is called the Krampus Eve, which if you know like the story of Krampus, like, you know, Krampus comes around and basically bags up and punishes and tortures like bad little kids. And then the good little kids get let go and they get presents. He's like this big demon-like creature. So they went cutesy with Krampus. You can't be horror all the time. So the first pan is Krampus Eve, and that is 9 pans. 8 of them are mattes, which do not look cohesive to me at all. So it's basically like a miscellaneous, there's like blues and there's greens, and it looks like there's a pop of orange. And legitimately, I just look at this color story and I'm like, huh. That was my first reaction, was like, okay, not seeing the vision, but okay. And then there's a shade in the middle, which is actually like kind of like a rainbow shade. So we've seen Adept do this a lot lately. But there are, it looks like 4 different colors in that center shade of shimmer. And if you ran your finger along it, here's a swatch, you would see like the color changes and the banding. So I think that's a really interesting approach to a palette. I just don't think that the color story that they came up with is cohesive. So this palette is for sure going to be a pass from me. I'm not feeling it. I don't really care for it. So we're going to say pass. And they do have another 9 pan palette. Now this one is called the Krampus Continued. And that is in the black packaging there. So there are also 9 pans for this palette. And instead of the 1 shimmer, there are 5 shimmers. And here's a swatch of those. I think that like shiny black color is actually the most interesting in this, but the little pop of like the almost minty green, it's like the color of my shirt here, that looks like a really pretty color. And then there are like 4 grungy mattes to go with it in the 4 corners. This is also a pass for me. It's grungier and it's darker, and I'm sure you could generate some really beautiful looks with it, but it's just not calling to me. Honestly, like I don't feel inspired by the color story. Maybe someday, but we're gonna say pass on that, okay? And I couldn't find the pricing for that second palette. I assume that it is going to be higher than the $28 after the codes of the first palette, but because there's more shimmers and there's more shifts, and that is more expensive to manufacture, I just didn't see the pricing anywhere. And I have a bone to pick with Ladybug Glow, okay? And they don't put like clear pricing on their Instagram. They only show you the price after you would use the codes, and I find that to be very frustrating. So I think that in order to have pricing transparency, you need to just put the full retail price on your fucking page, okay? Put it on there, and then in parentheses, you can put the price after codes. But it feels deceptive putting the price after codes as the initial pricing on there. You can put all the text you want in the world, but I think it's deceptive, and it's skeevy and I don't like it. So there, rant over. Like I said, I have feelings. Probably more than I should, honestly. Okay. So anyway, those are launching November 10th, and I will have a code in the description box for you if you see them and you love them, but it's not for me, so we're going to say pass. Okay, so Vive Muse, who I think that's technically an influencer brand, but it's very classy. They are have released a new bath leisure line. I think that's trademarked, by the way. It's a body care line, basically. And their new categories for them, there's a bath salt, a body oil, a candle, and a robe, and like a body soak, which is like the liquidy kind. So this is like luxury. The pricing is honestly, it's not that bad. So the prices range from like $29 a product to $59 for the robe. Don't think that's that bad, honestly. And it is available now. This is very bougie looking. The packaging almost kind of looks like that classy minimalist. It reminds me of a brand, and I can't like place, but it reminds me of like a really expensive luxury brand product. I think the branding is beautiful. The packaging is beautiful. I saw sandalwood as one of the scents, and I'm not sold on that, but if that's something you like, then maybe that's for you. For me, it's just going to be a pass. It's just not anything that's screaming my name, you know? So pass. Okay. Elf Cosmetics is trying to put everyone out of business. So Elf has new, they're called Cream Glide lip liners. And did Elf have lip liners before? Did I just miss that? Or is this like a brand new category for Elf? Legit, if you know, we just comment like, you know, yes, they had lip liners, because this is new to me. But apparently it is a creamy liner formula that swipes on smoothly without tugging on your lips, which is nice. And it has a semi-matte finish. Do you want to know how much these lip liners are? Hold your panties. They're $2. Dose. For that price, you could try every color and not feel bad about it. $2. That's amazing. Good job, Elf. The quantities, like the sheer quantities they must have prepaid for in manufacturing to get that price. But damn, Elf coming for everyone. I'd be very curious to see how these lined up against something like Unearthly's or who's somebody else who has a really good lip liner? Charlotte Tilbury, maybe? I don't know. I'd be really curious to see how these compared to each other. But yeah, smash. I'll try a neutral lip liner from Elf. Listen, I know I need to do a declutter of lip liners. I know I'm garbage at using them completely up. But for $2, I'd try one. You know, smash. You may be wondering, Liz, you're drinking coffee? Yes, I am. It is 11 p.m. about, and I don't care. I like coffee all hours of the day. It doesn't affect me like that. And I have a toothache, and that's probably part of the reason I'm salty. So I need a root canal, and I'm procrastinating because trauma. So, okay, there are 3 other things that I want to mention that are not like Pass or Smash-esque yet, but they are like sneak peeks, so let's talk about them. So, Bella Beauté Bar, if you remember previously, they have released their Angles of Illumination, which everyone screwed the name up of that. It was Angels of Illumination. No, it's Angles of Illumination. Every person I saw review it screwed it up at least once. But they had 3 palettes in that line previously. So what they've decided to do is they've decided to, instead of restocking those 3 palettes, they've decided to release a complete 16-pan palette. Here's just the packaging. The color store is not available yet. Of 16 duochrome in a new palette. Firstly, and they're magnetic pans, because you can tell that from the packaging. They're magnetic pans. So really excited to see that, honestly. I'm not somebody who reaches for an all shimmer palette very often. I don't. I have a couple, but I don't reach for them that often. But I'm really kind of curious about the all duochrome part. Like, what kind of duochromes? Like, what are we talking here? And then if the discount is steep enough, I don't know. I think the other ones were expensive. I think the other ones were like $100 and something bucks each. So I'd be really curious to see how something like that matches up to like the Danessa Myrix Lightworks palettes. But it's just a little sneak peek, but really curious. It looks like that is going to be revealed. It's going to be launching end of November. So I'm sure like in the next 2 weeks, we're going to see a reveal for that. So curious about it. And Inslee Rain, very busy. They have been very busy creating products this year. They have sneak peeked now the packaging for their new palette as well. There's just the cover art. It's not like the inside packaging. It looks to be, though, in looking at the packaging, it looks to be 16 pans. We will see, but it looks a lot like the same size, the same size as their Twisted Tea Party. So real curious to see that. I've been loving everything that they've been doing lately. So there's the sneak peek of the packaging. It's beautiful artwork. Beautiful artwork. So that reveal should be coming end of next week. So we'll talk about it next week. And then last but not least, I just kind of wanted to give a shout out, honestly. So I've never tried Dandelions Co. And I'm not somebody who goes crazy over most single shadows. Like, I think a lot of them are beautiful, but I really just do kind of a poor job, honestly, of using them, with the exception of my Davina shades. I'm really trying, okay? I'm trying. But Dandelion Co. for Halloween, they put together a bundle of shades called the Vampires and Ghouls. And look how pretty that is. It's like they put together a palette out of their single shades, and then they have the bundle listed on their site as Vampires and Ghouls. So you can just get the bundle and just put it together in the palette. And I think that's a really smart way of doing single shadows, you know? Like, you can like custom curate any palettes that you want out of the singles that you have. So I just thought that it was really smart. And I just wanted to give them a shout out because I thought the color story that they curated was really beautiful. Here's some swatches of it. I just thought it was really beautifully done. So shout out to Dandelion Co. because I thought that was honestly really cute. But yeah, that was all I had for you today, my darlings. So thank you for watching Pass or Smash. And if you like Pass or Smash, please give it a like and a share and all that jazz. And then if you made it this far, will you leave me, I don't know, some kind of candy emoji, a coffee cup, a tea, whatever. And I love your faces. Thank you so much for being here and for watching Pass or Smash. I love you guys. Thank you. And I will catch you on the next one. Bye.